Okay, hi you guys. Um, Today, I wanted to talk about what happened in my dream. You see my lashes in the background? Yeah. I've been all over the place this weekend because I had to literally stop. Like God was calling to my attention. He was telling me like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks before, like to get prepared, get stuff ready, things like that. Like your life is about to shift, and not just my life, like other people's lives, but my life in this channel is about um not just myself but mostly serving others, and you're seeing it through my lens, through my screen, which is my two eyes. um so that's why I try to be transparent and I try to tell what is going on. So I went to work today, and usually I have these are reactive days, meaning that you can either work from home or you can work from the office, or you can do both. But you have to get your caseloads in order. You're reviewing, you're revamping your case orders. I said your case order. It's like case management. So you're revamping, making sure, touching up on your cases, making sure everything is up to date. Now, some people use this time to get back to people and do voice calls and things like that. I don't do that. I try to do that in a day, touch bases with people, and I try to use this one day for everything to get my paperwork done, because paperwork is extremely important in almost every aspect of your life. If you do not want to do paperwork, whether it is working for somebody or working for the government or anything, or just working for yourself, you have to learn how to do this paperwork. It saves you in the long run, financially. It saves you with time, and it also saves you when you go, if you have any kind of disputes or anything, because it's right there, so um oh shoot, my foot. Oh gosh. So yeah, so I went to work, and I'm like, I need to get a couple of days of some time in, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, right? Just everything in this windowsill, y'all. Sorry, but yeah, I be working from everywhere. So I'm getting things done, and I'm like, I couldn't shake off what I had in this dream a couple of days ago. So I'm like, what is going on? And then last night it was kind of shifty too, but it was bringing me back to the past. So I was like, okay, I know that's a spirit of setback, but what comes with that spirit? What is on the other side? Um, I've been getting developed, spiritually more. Like, if something disappointing happened, don't, or something disappointing looks like it's coming, don't get uh baffled or afraid by it. Push through it, like push through it and find out what it is that you can make the best outcome in. So, um, sorry y'all, my throat is dry. Everything is dry. I don't understand. So anyhow, I was doing it, and I was like, something told me to get up and go home. Not something. I know that was God, And it was like, get up, go home, and to prepare. And meaning prepare. It wasn't just I thought it was, prayer and things like that. It was a literal, like, prepare, get rice, get flour. Like this. And this was also something that I had saw in a dream. And I'm going to tell you guys what I saw in this dream. I really try not to tell everything that happens with me or happens in my dreams or anything like that, because sometimes what you're having in your dreams is God's secret. Sometimes it might be just you eating something bad. So you don't want to go and share all the dreams, because some of them are not all prophetic, and some of them are not all. And then another thing is, I notice with people, it's a good thing because you hear people's confirmation from other people, the same dreams that God's been dropping in their spirit. But I also saw a lot of people um, abusing that aspect that God uses. He talks to us through our dreams because our subconscious is more aware and more, able to receive. And some people take that as a joke, and then you'll see them trying to do something in order to get something, some gains, some financial gains or personal gains from other people. And I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of that. And also I want people to understand this is a full range channel, so you're going to see I'm showing you more aspects of me and the real authentic me, instead of some made up version. Most people are having, a lot of people when they're having, you seeing a character of them. Um, but I want to be true and authentic because I want to show what God has been doing with me, and I know He's been shifting with other people. So, anywho, dream. So this dream was so graphic. Now, when I want to say months before, I'm gonna say months before this whole happened, this whole the pandemic happened and everything. God told me to work at a excuse me, to work at a grocery store. Now, I've had issues with my job, not having a job that was lucrative, and God told me to move. Um, Having a good job, being comfortable, then God tell you to move. Having a low paying job, then going to a better paying job, leave that job, going back to the low paying job, and then coming out. So I understood that, the process of just obeying God. Don't look at what things look like in the physical. Look at what is happening spiritually. Yeah, I need to do my nails again. Okay, so anywho, let me put my hands down. Okay. This was like creepy, y'all. It was creepy. Okay. So so I actually literally worked at a grocery store, and God was telling me, to calm down my mind, calm down, focus on Him, because there was a lot of things that were going on. But He also told me that He was going to take care of me and provide. And He kept showing me these scriptures about how He provides. So I was okay. I'm not going to say that I was in perfect peace, feeling like, okay, I know God doesn't lie, but I also had this fleshly desire to fear. Okay, that's human nature, and that's okay. But I knew that if I kept going and I didn't turn back and I didn't look at, just keep going no matter what. That's like an exercise program. If you just keep going and not look back and be like, oh, will this hurt, and stop, you're going to see progress. So I just kept doing it, and I kept doing what He told me to do. Boom. Couple of months later, we have the pandemic, right? So this was part of what He showed me. So I was like, okay, I was okay with that. So after this went on through, God was telling me to prepare. But I was like slowly preparing. Like, okay, I thought that's, He was telling me to get my mind right, like I said. So back to the dream. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, y'all need to hear all of this in order to get what I'm talking about. Because He was telling me, put stuff back. Boom, put stuff back. Like, act as if you are... He was telling me, act as if, like, I didn't have it. And I was with this guy who was telling me this, too. Before, like, this is how you end up saving and actually being better. And I was like, okay, I understand that, because my grandfather used to tell us that. Like, don't spend your money all in one spot. Don't spend your money all at church. He used to say that, too. And he was a minister, y'all. He was serious about that. He was like... Yeah, but anywho, so, in the dream, I'm gonna tell you what happened with the dream. Shaking. Okay, in the dream, I was at the store that I work at. I only work at this store like a couple of hours a week, just enough to, and people were like, why do you have that? I was like, that's what God told me. Sometimes it's not even 8 hours a week that I work there. But when this happened, I was able to get first dibs on everything. Not only that, I got the discount, and I was able, to be okay. But you guys remember, I'm like the dream. It was like I was in the store, and I work in one department, and like everything else is on the other side anyway. So, as I'm going to the other side of the department in the grocery store, I noticed that like the shelves were empty, but it was like people fighting. They were fighting so hard. Like, when I say they were fighting each other as if it was life and death. And it was long lines. It was like, first of all, our store, now when the first pandemic happened, there was a long line. Like, they were preparing. And my other job talked about this too, that there were going to be long lines like this. So like, before all this happened, like in February, so they were training us, this was going to happen. Well, not February, it was November last year. So they were training us on what was going to happen. So as I'm seeing this in the dream, I'm thinking that maybe it's just old of what we saw from the pandemic before, because there were lines. Even though I live in a place where there are so many grocery stores, it's ridiculous. And it's like not only regular grocery stores, it's co-ops, farmers market, it's all this. Then we have like people who own farms that sell. It was still like people were still in lines waiting on to get in to get food. So uh excuse me. So this time it was like the line was so long, but it was different. Like, and we had security too when this first happened at the pandemic in real life. We literally had, but this time there was no police. Like the police were, you could see they were far off in the other side of the parking lot, but they had no power, no control. They were getting beat up too. Like it was bad. It was bad. So as I'm going, I went into the other side. Like you could see the windows as I'm going to the other side of the store. All the shelves are empty, 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 empty. And I'm like, what the heck? It was no rice there. There was no flour. There was no sugar, and there was no salt. Those are the main things you kind of need in a situation like that. You're gonna need your starches. People always talk about that because yeah, you want to be healthy, but if you have fat on you, that's gonna help you during the depression, or during a tough time. If you are very lean and healthy, depending on how your fat stores, it's studies about this that show you that if you're gonna be okay and you can make it, you need to see if your body is able to produce fat. So people who get mad about the love handles, you need to be thankful for those things because your body can adapt. But I understand being healthy because I do it myself. So anyhow, that the things were empty. It was like even the clothes on the clothes side was empty, which was weird because now we have abundance of clothes and things like that, but it was crazy. So the only thing I saw was like this lady, she had a loaf of bread in her hand, and it was this another lady, she had like I don't know if that was spiritual or what, but it was apricots, and we haven't had apricots in our stores for like years. Like the fruit apricots, not like dry apricots. It was actually apricots. But when they walked out of the store, there were people waiting on them in the line that like literally was beating them up. The person with bread ended up getting beat up, but the person with apricots ended up getting away. But the apricots was like $5 or $7 or something like that, $5.77 or something like that, and we don't even have prices like that. Walmart has prices like $5.88, $5.77. It was weird, y'all. It was weird, and it was like people. And then when you were going outside, like I went outside just to go home. Like people were fighting, they were following people just to find out if they can jump them and get their stuff. Like that's how deep it was. It was like it was people that were hiding. There were people hiding in then I went to a church. It was people hiding in a church. They were like, it was weird. It turned out really left because it was this guy, they were trying to rape him in church. It was weird. And it was like, talking about that's how they get down. It was weird, y'all. But I thought it was like just something like maybe it's something I ate, but the dream before it was something like that too. And it was like I lived in this apartment building and I could not get out. And everybody in the apartment building was ganging together to ban some kind of like alliance to protect themselves. That's how it was. It was like almost like a every man for itself. I don't know where the military was. I know that the local police government had no control. They weren't being protected by the government. And not only that, they were getting beat up. They were getting taken out, like, and some of them was like, forget it, like they were about to protect their own families. So shoot, yeah. But when I woke up, it was like prepare, and like I said, those things, like it was rice, it was sugar, salt, and I think pasta. I think it was pasta too, but I remember salt, I remember sugar, and I remember rice. And it was not wheat rice. It was not parboiled. It was white rice. White rice. So, when I got up from that dream, I was like, oh yeah, another thing. Those people who were taking and robbing those people for their food and stuff, because nobody was robbing people for their cars. Yeah, some cars would tow up and things like that, but most of most of the things that people were going for was food. It was like food. It wasn't even toiletries. It wasn't nothing like that, because some of those people were raggedy, toe up, like they were going for food. Food, food. And what's the most thing that you need if something happens? You can live with water, and you can live without water for 3 days, and you can live with, they say you can live without food for 21 days. I know that that is a lie, because I fast for 40 days with nothing but water. So I know that that's a lie. So I know it's longer than, a little bit longer than that, but some of the things will break down after that time. So yeah, with that, I was like, and then today when it was telling, how God was telling me go home, prepare, I was like, okay, I need to go buy rice. And another thing, when I went to the store, this was so weird. Like, when I went to the store, I haven't went to any other store, but I went to the one closest to me. Guess what? They didn't have white rice. They did not have white. They did not have white rice. They did have some beans. I did get some beans, and the only beans that they had was Goya. And they had the whole thing dealing with the president talking about the owner of Goya Foods was supporting the U.S. president. So a lot of people were not getting that food. Are you crazy? Are you freaking crazy? Get that food. When you are in an emergency situation, you don't care what packaging your deliverance is. Think about if you need water. You don't give a care what utensil it is. If you are near death, you're gonna get that water. So think of that. Sugary treats. Don't get rid of your sugary treats. Okay. If you think you need to get yourself away from not eating it, put it in a sealed bag or something. And I know people who have been doing this for like years already and been telling me, so I've been in the know and things like that. So, but it hit me so hard and so tough, because he was telling me like it was going to be weeks, and it was going to be like things that was going to happen. It was going to happen like really soon, and not only that it was going to be like half of the year. Like half of the year. And I've seen other people talking about half of the year. And that's what made me get enough courage to put things on and to tell the truth. Because God said, if you deny him, he's going to deny. Jesus said, if you deny him, he's going to deny you when it comes to the Father. He's going to say, I don't know this food. Like, well, I don't know him, I shouldn't have added, I don't know this food. But that's what it is, and also if you have something that can help people, because some people are not listening to the people that are right next to them. It says in the Bible that a prophet is honored everywhere except in his home. One thing that I noticed when I started telling people how God was changing me and how God was shifting me and things were going out, they were not believing me, but they would believe the bum or the person on the street. And I had to take it for not as personal, but at least they got the message. Or they had to listen to some celebrity tell them years later, So don't take it personal. If you can hear it, it says if you hear it, take heed to it. Harden not your heart. Take it to take it to God and ask him, and this is the thing. If you really think that I'm lying and all these other people are lying, then just try it. I will say this, do it anyway. It's better to have something than to have nothing and to be without. That's the same thing when you're dealing with tactics, and when you're dealing with fighting someone. You got to think about this as a war, because this is literally what it's going to be. They've been already telling us it's food shortages, and you didn't see them. That should already let you know to prepare and get ready. And then that should scare you already. When you hear, I will tell you this, y'all know I used to do stuff with the news, with media. That's why I'm kind of hectic and hesitant to get on. But God has been getting me to get back on and to tell and not to get shaken up by it, because some of this stuff is like deep. But when the media tells you something, it's an automatic. Think about a company. When they talk about some company being good and it's blown up, usually it's too late for you to even invest in it. It's too late. They've already gone over the peak, you know. So you always want to be ahead of the media. People who wait into the media are always left out. You know, that's how you see people when they be like glued to the thing, like, oh, and they're talking about the what else did they talk about that was old? Oh, when the virus first came out, and they were like, oh, and it just came out, and they didn't know that they were already prepping people in different businesses and different companies, and talking about this happening years before. You know, like they was telling my company a year and a half in advance, and that's because we deal with the public and deal with, you know, they knew that this was coming. You know, and when it happened, some people were like, you know, shocked and admonished, but it helped. I would tell you it helped me personally. I can't talk about anyone else, but I know it helped a lot of other people, because you get prepared. If you got a heads up on something, you know, you're gonna be able to adjust, and you do something about it. It's easier to get to take that hit from when times get rough, versus you waiting to the last minute. Or say for instance you got an interview, right? It's better to prepare the night before, or actually when I have an interview or something like that, I prepare weeks before. If they give me that time, I prepare. If they give me like 2 weeks or something, I prepare immediately what I'm going to say, how the questions are, because I'm going to be better equipped to answer questions, and how to sit back, versus me just going and freestyling it, because someone can throw you in something that you don't even have time to react to and really think over, a question that you really don't think over, and you can say something that might be true or might be honestly acceptable answer, but it might not be the best answer. So that is the same thing with this. You guys prepare. And God also talks about in the scripture that he, before disaster happens, he's going to tell his prophets. He does nothing in the earth before he releases to his prophets. Okay, so if you've been warned already, do what you need to do. I had to give myself with that. Like, God, please, I repent. I went and got on the ball, y'all. When I saw that, especially when I went into that, I went into the store, and this store is like the biggest chain we have in this area, you know, and they have stores like worldwide. It's not just Walmart, you know. Even Walmart's been getting empty. You know, look at the shelves. Look how they've been shifting things. You know, they're shifting people to put people inside, you know, as a protection place. You know, when stuff happens, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, get prepared. You know what? Who's to say? You know, we don't know when it's gonna. Well, you know, around the time, but you don't know exactly when it's gonna hit. But at least you will be prepared, and you'll be able to take it on. You know, and like I said, if you don't believe me, ask God. And if you don't believe in God, just try to at least put some stuff away. And if you have been putting stuff away, you might need to put a little bit more away. Who's to say that, you know, you're not going to be helping your neighbors? This is going to be times where you're going to have to help your neighbors, because you're going to need your neighbors. The people who haven't been kind and nice to their neighbors, they're going to have to see what it really means to be neighborly, what it really means to be friendly, what it really means to love thy neighbor as thyself. Because if you don't take care of the people around you, they will turn on you. You know, so this, and not only that, just, you know, I would help anyone anyway, even if they were my enemy, because I was taught that way, and I really do believe that, and I've seen change in it. I've seen people who literally hate me, and I really hated them, and I'm going to be honest, and me acting out of obedience, in kindness and in love, that they in turn was kindness and in love, and now some of them are some of my closest friends. Remember that this is the time. This is the time we're going to have to show brotherly love. This is the time when you're going to start seeing the church, the real church, not the people who just go to church. The church, meaning the body of Christ, the real believers and the people who are doing good things, real good things, not just for show. you're going to see them sprout out. You're going to see them come out, because when struggle really hits, you start seeing when pressure. See, everybody can be good Samaritans when things are good and when everybody has stuff. But what about when you're down to your last? God was showing me that too. This is the time when you're getting to whether, you don't have 5 loaves of bread, or you don't have Jesus to multiply that 5 loaves of bread. What do you do? Like, when you have just what you have, you're going to have to help. You are going to have to, y'all. Another thing he had got me to was to, hold on. Ooh. Sorry. Come on. Come on, Lulu. Yeah. Okay, so another thing he told me to do was to get this potting mix. And I was like, okay, well, he's been telling me to plant anyway. But I noticed that when I went home to my hometown in the States, not in Haiti, but when I went to my hometown in the States, like where most of my people grew up, on my mother's side and stuff like that, I started noticing that they can't buy seeds. It's so, man, y'all. I think that is made like that. But buy as many seeds as you can, and start to grow. 4 and 8 years back, they've been talking about this. People jumped on it. There wasn't a lot of crave on it. Now is really the time, because it's in black and white. But God was showing me things like, what happens when you don't have the seed and you just have the product. So I went to the store. I know I gotta keep turning around. I should have got all of this together. But I went to the store and I'm like, okay, I needed potato seeds. They have a lot of compost. Well, a lot of that stuff was gone and some of that stuff was expensive. But what was cheap that I was able to get? Potatoes. The actual potatoes. And the actual potatoes are plants themselves. So I literally just started to grow. Like, I just threw them in some dirt, threw them on top of them. You'll be surprised. I remember doing this as a kid. Because my family we didn't have a lot of money, well, eventually, because it accumulates after you just keep going, but we would learn, see, that's the other one, that's this, learn how to plant things, and most of our things was with onions and strawberries and not much potatoes, but yucca. If you guys heard of yucca, and cactus, I know this. A lot of black people, like in my family, on my mom's side and my dad's side, have a lot of cactus. And you can have nopalates, and then it's like cactus and eggs. It's good. So yeah, just start growing stuff. If you can't find the seeds, get the actual thing. Another thing I did was my lettuce. Like, I couldn't find any things for lettuce to plant, but I had the core. So take the core, put it in a thing of water, or just throw it in the dirt. Throw it in the dirt. You'll see. You'll be so surprised. But I didn't have enough dirt because I don't have a house anymore. I live in a community that has things on the outside. But what do you do if you're indoors? And which is actually a good thing, because some of those things that are going to be outdoors are not going to be able to survive. Oh yeah, that was another thing in a dream, y'all. I'm sorry. So he got me to do that. Anyhow, I'm going to try to finish this. He got me to start doing this, planting and just throwing the things in there. And when they started getting bigger, put them in the ground and let them grow. Yeah. So I did that, and I have my whole tub. I don't want to show y'all all my house because it's really, really junky. But that's what I've been doing. Another thing I forgot to tell y'all what happened in that dream. That dream was so long. I wanted to wake up so bad. it was almost like a zombie apocalypse kind of thing. And I don't even watch that the show Zombies or whatever, or the apocalypse. I don't watch those kind of shows because I don't want that in my psyche, and I want to have a clear slate so I can be able to do what I need to do and keep focus on God and the light and the true light, and so I can do, because it does mess up your psyche. It doesn't mean that it won't happen. Good things won't happen, but it'll be a block. It'll be a blockage in your gym sockets. It'll be a blockage. So whatever you're feeding it, we're feeding you is feeding it. It's like a cancer. You're feeding yourself with a cancer when you're watching those shows. You're feeding your gym gates, your eye gates, your portals. You're feeding that with toxicity. So I try not to. So anywho, I forgot. Oh my goodness, it's 30 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna keep going because I need to tell this, because I know I've been hiding a lot, and not only that, I've been trying to get stuff done. There was this cow, and the cow was just walking, y'all. Cow was fat. Now, I saw some cows that was so skinny, and I told you guys earlier in another video that God was talking about the famine was coming and things like that, but there were going to be some people excelling in the famine. So I pray that that's me, and you too, if you're watching and you're following God's principles. I pray that everybody is saved, but we know there are going to be some people who are not prepared, but we pray that, everybody takes heed to this, and that nobody gets lost through this. I had a dream about like these skinny cows, and they was just walking, and they was ravished, like it was horrid, and it started making me think about how Joseph was talking about the fat cows, because the skinny cows ate the fat cows in the Bible, and the sheaves of corn, they was all big, and the withered up sheaves of corn took over the withered sheaves of corn, and it was talking about how things were good at the beginning, but the first 7 years was really good, but the next 7 was going to be so bad that you're not even going to remember the good. So it was like, and how God was telling Joseph, like, in order to be okay, you have to put things away. So when things happen, and the Egyptians were not prepared. It's all about preparedness. Not prepared. When the things happened, they said, okay, well, we needed food. He was like, okay, well, you got to give us your goods. So he had the goods, and then they was like, well, we don't have any fortune. We don't have any goods or no jewelry or anything like that. And when it came back to Joseph, Joseph was like, okay, well, we'll take care of you, but give us your land. And this is the same thing that's happening. That I think is happening. But anyhow, in the dream that I had that was recent, that was the same dream about, the whole store with no food, and people were acting like zombies, and their eyes were dark. Like, some of them had like blades. Some of them was like it looked like they were possessed. It was almost like that zombie show. Like, they were possessed. It looked like that. Some people look like not human, okay? I mean, they look half human and half animal. Like, it was... I don't know if I should say that. Forget it. I'm going to tell the truth. These people, some of them look like they were shapeshifters. They look like you and I, but they were not. They were not, okay? And they were, like, showing their true form. But it was crazy. And it wasn't like, okay, you just see just a seahorse or something like that. It was like their face was more animalistic, like their bodies, it was like something like shifting their DNA. It was weird, like a TV show. It was weird, y'all, but I knew it was real. That dream was so real, because if it wasn't, it would have been in another well, I don't need to talk about that either. But anywho, they looked like zombies, and they couldn't get themselves out. Like, some people was tapping out. That was another thing. It was some people that was over there, like, they were like preaching too during the time it was like really a lot of famine, and some people were coming out. Some of those people who was zombie like and was attacking people and going crazy, they were coming out, but it was some of them that was messed up. Like, they were still into it. So it was crazy, but I knew it was real. In the stores, stuff was empty. It was empty. It was total, I don't even want to say that word, but it wasn't organized. So if it's not organized, then it's something else. But Oh yeah, so when I went, because I used to live like close to this farm. I still kind of live close to this farm. I went to this farm and it was like these cows, and they were big. They were big and healthy, so I was okay. And it wasn't the cows that we see like on it wasn't like the cows that you see with the little because we got a lot of those cows too. They got the little, they already mess with them. They mess with their stomach, so they got this little tube that's connected to the stomach, and it makes them pump out their food. You know, it digests their milk like quicker. So now you don't have to push out the otters, and they just come out the tubes. It was an actual natural big healthy juicy cow, y'all. The cow was fine in the grass as I'm driving to go home. All of a sudden, the cow dropped dead and died. And it not only that, it was like plants dropping dead and die. It was like things do 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 do. Yeah. So yeah, it was real. So all I can say is, I know this sounds a little crazy. I'm not trying to tell you to do anything weird. I'm just saying you need to prepare. Prepare as much as you can. You know, there are certain limitations. I'm not saying go in and hoard and stuff. That's no. But I do say that you need to, put something on the side. You know, just like if you were saving money. You know, because you don't even know if the money that you have is going to be worth something. But food, clothing, shelter, that's always something that's worth something because it's things that you need. So, oh yeah, and God was telling me to get like charcoal or butane lighter and stuff. I mean not butane lighter, butane uh cookers and things like that just in case. It was weird. So I'm gonna share that. Um, I'm gonna get it off of here because I'm tired of holding potatoes. Yeah. So hopefully something I've said or done will help you on your journey. Please stay tuned to Journey to Jerusalem, and thank you so very, very much.